I'd like to share something that I learned kind of the hard way on my 0300A Continental. And this is a F&M filter adapter. This came with the engine when I bought the airplane, so I don't really know much about it other than it's very old because it says F&M. I think the new ones are made by Tempest. You can see this one had a hole drilled in kind of an odd spot for the lock wire. But nonetheless, just to get to the bottom line here, the issue that I ran into, and it took a while to figure this out for me until I talked to Tempest, and they put me on to this, and they're very helpful. But there's been quite a few accidents, by the way. You can look them up on the internet, caused by this gasket. This is the third revision on this gasket. The original was fiber. Chunks were blowing out and people were dumping their oil. The fatalities were, I think, from emergency landings going wrong. But this is the third one. It's a stainless steel reinforced, some type of Teflon coating on it or whatever. But I'm not sure what it's made of. But it's supposed to be the answer. Now the problem that I had is I'm running out of threads in the block or in the accessory adapter. I'm not an AMP mechanic, by the way. Don't, so, you know, just take this for whatever it's worth. But what's happening, it's got 65 foot-pounds on it now. So did this, by the way. But what's happening on this particular engine, it may be happening on yours. There's a very common problem. Someone on the forum told me, oh yeah, that's old news. I'm surprised you hadn't read the bulletin. Well, I've seen no bulletin on this. I think it's going to be like OJ looking for the kill of his wife on the golf courses of America. But if you look at this, as I hold it with my old shaky hands, you can see that, well, you can't see it, but I can tell you by my measurements, you're getting 65 foot-pounds on the threads, not on this. And so after you've torqued it up to 65 foot-pounds, it's still doing this. And you're depending on the lock wires to keep this thing in place. And I'm not going to fly around the country depending on lock wires. That's a last resort, not a first resort. For me, you may be different. But I had a drip, drip, drip on this thing. With the first revision was a fiber gasket. That's the one where they had the big problems. And then they went to this copper crush washer, the traditional type AN type gasket, and they had one here. I don't have one I can show you. And it just kept leaking on me and it aggravated me. And when I changed my oil filter, the whole thing was rotating. And I said, nah, the hell with this. But the way this thing works, and I don't like the design personally because it's like a big banjo clamp here. And you're just kind of, you've got all this weight, and you'd be surprised with this thing full of oil. It's you know, it's kind of like having a wrench pulling down on it. And I don't think these gaskets are really made to have an uneven amount of torque on them. You know, you're just, I don't know. But anyway, so that's what's happening. And the way this thing operates is your oil comes in from the side here, and it goes through, this thing's got like a baffle in it. It goes through here, it comes out on the outside of the oil filter, like all oil filters do, whether it's your car, your lawnmower, your aviation. Everything filters from the outside through these holes, and then the clean oil comes up through the center. And then it comes back up through here, which I assume goes to the oil gallery and then to the various parts of the engine. There's a hex-headed, it feels kind of, I don't know what that's made of, but there's a hex right here. Not sure what it's for. But anyway, that's the path. Oil comes in here, back the outside, back in here, and then back out here. So what Tempest tells me I need to do, and they've also said the new ones are made better. If it doesn't work, you can return it, no problem, no cost other than probably shipping. But before I get a new one, I want to confirm that these threads are either smaller, or I may just end up staying with the screen. I know people that's put 20-something hundred miles, 2,800 hours on a 172 with the screen. So is the filter necessary? I don't know. Sure don't hurt. I'd like to have it. It's a 30 micron. Usually automobile filters are 20 micron, but these engines run very dirty and it would probably plug up faster. I don't know what micron the screen is, but it damn sure is bigger than 30 micron, I would guess. But anyway, that's what I got. Long story short, if you measure it, you can see that the thread's here. And I'll show you the galding that's taking place here. So we'll see how that works out. I've got all the other measurements and everything. Everything looks good. This slips inside of the adapter like this one. See, they're not even the same thickness, but the lengths are virtually identical. But that's not the critical measurement. The critical measurement for me is this damn thread right here. And the only answer, I think, is either a new one. Hopefully these threads have been built a little shorter like this, where you don't run into that problem. Otherwise, I'll have to chase those threads with a tap and get about at least 2 more threads. These are flat, and this one, bottom one, is flat out galded. So I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not completely comfortable with cutting threads in that thing, but Tempest says it's not that bad. But and looking inside of it, I've had it inside. I'll show you some pictures. It's not where if you cut these threads here and then they just drop off into Never Never Land. It's a fairly clean hole where you can vacuum that out. If I do it, what I'll do is plug the inlet where it's coming in from, I guess, the oil pump, I would imagine, and then I would plug the outlet where it goes out to the rest of the engine oil gallery, whatever's there. As I said, I'm not an A&P, so excuse my ignorance on this, but I feel like I'm an expert on this. I've had 3 A&P mechanics miss this, so it's not that obvious, despite the bulletin, wherever the hell that's at. So that's what I got on this. I wanted to show you what I found. I hope this helps you. As I said, it's not that big a deal to vacuum that out. It looks fairly clean. I'll show you my pictures. And I hope this helps. And I hope Tempest puts a regular hex head on this damn thing and gets rid of this square 1 inch, by the way. 1.25 inches does fit it, but it's loose. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching my ranted video. Until next time, adios.